Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Cam1 from Hijo De Ramon Music Library, and we're back with another sample breakdown. Today, we're going to be breaking down a cut off my latest sample pack, Encerrados, which is volume 11, and the sample is called Don Ramon's Getaway. The inspiration for this sample really came from like 80s soundtrack synth library where it was kind of bright, bright synth pads, and still had kind of like a dark and grimy feel to it. Where the minute you added drums, it just kind of gave it like that rap character. But it's very melodic, kind of repetitive. It's a very simple composition. It's not my most complex piece of music, but I was really happy with it, so I decided to include it in the pack, and I thought you guys might enjoy it. And also, I thought you guys might enjoy breakdown. So we're going to dive deep, and we're going to take a look at each element, the stems, each audio file, how I processed it, and I'll try to give a little bit of information on the back end on how I put it all together. So hope you guys enjoy it. So we're going to start off first by playing the sample, give you an idea of what it sounds like. So yeah, when I hear this, I picture like you or someone sitting in the car driving down the freeway trying to get away from something, just like like a scene from a movie. So let's close this down, close all the plugins, and we'll start with the first element. See what we got. We got this Synth Pad, which is where I started with this sample. I think I was playing around with the Prophet, recording a bunch of ideas, and I landed on this piece right here. I'll play it dry. And there's just something about like the Prophet that it does pads and brass pads really, really well. So I was playing with that. I recorded those chords, and I started to add a few effects. I started with an EQ, took out the low end. I've been fucking with the FL chorus a lot lately. I feel like it just does a really good job, and it's built into FL. So I don't know why I've never used it before, but I started to implement it, I started to implement it into my compositions lately. And then classic, the Valhalla Room. It's my favorite reverb. I speak about this plugin a lot. Threw these three on, and it kind of changed the character of the whole composition, and it kind of brought it to life. So yeah, next piece is the bass, which is from the infamous Moog. Play that for you dry. And with this bass, or at least with the Moog, it's very rare that I add crazy effects on the bass because it does it so well. Maybe a little EQ, but here I did some slight compression with the VC8 or the VC2A from Native Instruments. FL, EQ, I think I ducked a little bit at 140 hertz or 148. Actually, I think I had to redo this EQ because for some reason it crashed, but I think before I had to raise the low end just a tiny bit. And then Transient Master from Native Instruments. Just because like with the Moog, when I recorded it, the release was kind of more open than I would have liked. So the tail of the synth kind of just it was just way too loud. So I brought this in to kind of like tighten up the ends of the bass hits using the sustain. So that just kind of takes the sound and it chops off the tail, or the decay, I'm sorry. And then I left the attack alone, very little bit of gain because it's already pretty loud. And then it sounds like this. Play dry. Very subtle difference, but in the mix, it makes a huge difference, or at least to me. And then, you know, we got a nice little groove here going. The pads and the bass. This element right here is just some cymbals just to kind of get that groove moving forward where it's not stale. Just a little bit of movement, a little bit of percussion. It still leaves plenty of room for you to add your own drums. If you buy the stems, you can actually take that out. But if you buy the composition pack, it's very low in the mix. You can barely notice it, but it's there. And for that, Addictive Drums. Just pulled up some cymbals, played a pattern, called it a day. I don't really think I did any effects to that. Maybe some EQ, and that's about it. Let's go into the Synth Lead, which is my favorite part of this whole sample because it really gives it like that 80s synth library feel. It's a very simple pattern. It's a simple riff, but it adds so much character. And I think I went more in depth with the effects with this one because dry, it just sounds a little stale. So to give it character, initial analog pro, it's like a tape, vinyl saturation. It just adds noise, wobble, and all types of cool shit. And I went with the tape cassette preset and took the rate down because I think the initial preset, the wow rate is almost at 12 o'clock, and I brought it down just because it was too crazy, you know. Like subtlety is everything to me. I used the plexi tape for a little bit of delay. Reels, some more tape effect. I think it added a little bit of noise, a little bit of wobble, and again, the Valhalla room. And all together, it sounds like this. See, it just kind of brings it to life, and it gives it like that dirt and that grit. And then I move into a second piece, which is the Plucks. So it's pretty much playing with that first synthesizer from the Moog was playing, and I used the same patch, but I closed the filter and played with the envelope a little bit to make it more of a pluck rather than like an open lead. And then I'll play that dry. So actually, I think it's more of like my bass patch just at higher octaves. So, you know, it doesn't got much low end. It's more of like a lead pluck sound. And reverb and fat filter timeless delay gives it space, room. I'll play what we got so far. So this is the last part of the sample, or no, close to the last. I mean, we got one more piece left after this, but this is the next piece. This is the Fender Rhodes. Let's see if I can solo it out. So with the Rhodes, I really didn't need to add it, but I love the sound, and I always try to find different ways to implement the Rhodes into each composition if possible. And here I just saw an opportunity, and I took it. Just playing the chords. That's the dry raw sound from the Rhodes with the initial analog pro tape, saturation, a little bit of EQ, and a limiter. It just works. It's subtle, it's in the background, it just kind of adds a different layer to this whole composition. And now for the final piece, we got another synth part. So for this piece, a lot of the times when I have the composition to an almost finished state, I like to jam on top of it, do a little solo, experimenting with different sounds, playing stuff raw, just to see what comes out of it and what the composition makes me play, you know. So I think this was from like a 10-minute jam session where there was just a section where I played something dope and I thought it would work in the final composition. It ended up being this piece. So that little section with a little bit of reverb, reels, tape effect, and the FL chorus in the mix, it added another section of gold. That's pretty much it. Less overproduced and just straight to the point. In the past, I was composing and writing shit and just kept adding way too much shit and made it way too busy. And now I'm finding a lot of creativity and new possibilities inside of limitations. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you haven't already picked up the new pack, it's on my website. The link is in the description. Volume 11, Encerrados, is out now. Stems and compositions. It's only 8 samples, so it's at a lower rate than my usual packs. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for the support, and stay safe.